Well done, welcome back, those of you who are here. And we're going to start again. It's 4 o'clock, so it's time to welcome onto the stage for the next of our HOSPA 300 sessions, 5 minutes only. On behalf of Sona, its co-founder, Ben Dixon.
Hey, really exciting to be here. So I'm Ben. I'm one of the co-founders of Sona. We're an AI-native HR scheduling and payroll platform. And the topic for this 5 minutes is, so what's next for AI in hospitality? And prior to building Sona, I built a gig economy company, and so had a few thousand workers across the UK and Germany. So I've had this really interesting experience of building workforce technology sort of pre-AI as it now is, and post-AI, and seeing what the differences of that are. And I think that gives this really interesting question of, when we're talking about AI, what are we actually talking about? Because on the one hand, you've got companies like Salesforce, who are out there saying, AI is old news, it's from 2017, it's been there for ages, it's not new. On the other hand, you've got things like ChatGPT, and I definitely don't remember ChatGPT being around in 2017. So what are we talking about when we talk about AI? And I think the distinction we need is the difference between sort of traditional AI, and at one point this was called big data, at one point it was called machine learning, and cognitive or agent-based AI. And an example we use a lot is sort of 10 years ago, you started to get the first cars that had driving assists. And this would be sort of like a Ford Fiesta, where they'd put a camera at the top of the windscreen. And that meant that if you went outside the lines on a motorway, it can make the steering wheel buzz. And that was quite useful technology. It stopped you from going off the lines on a motorway. But it couldn't really drive anywhere for you. And then what you're seeing over the last few years is the very first self-driving cars, the very first cars that have been built from the ground up for intelligence. And these cars, you can tell them where you want to go. They do everything else for you. And cognitive or agent-based AI is like a self-driving car. And what that means is that what you can do with cognitive AI is you can ask it to consume a completely unimaginable amount of data, every data point you can imagine about your business, from bookings to the type of bookings to guest histories, literally anything you can imagine. You can then go and ask it to achieve outcomes based on that data. You can say, we want to do X, go and work out how to do this. And it will come back like a person would and tell you what you need to do. And if you want, it can go and do those things for you. A great example of why it's been so much fun doing this from the ground up for hotels to begin with is hotels often have much more complicated data than some other hospitality businesses. In particular, data where something that happens here in the business has a huge impact over here in the business. So one example we see is you can set an AI agent to go out and explore what does the type of booking I have mean for how busy the restaurant's going to be. And it can go out and discover that if I have a lot of conference bookings, that means something very different for how busy the restaurant will be to if I have a lot of wedding bookings or holiday bookings. And what it can then do is go out and either nudge the manager and say, you should staff differently if you want to maximize this opportunity, or once you really trust it, it can go and action that change automatically. It can go out and change the roster and say, the roster should look different because these are predominantly conference bookings. And so if sort of wave one of technology in hospitality and sort of the machine learning AI or that first generation of AI, that was very much about cost control. That was very much about how do we not do things wrong. That's what traditional AI is very good at, about sort of efficiency. What cognitive or agent-based AI is very, very good at is going out and saying, where are the opportunities, given everything I know about my guests, given CCTV data, given everything that's happened in the restaurant and the kitchen and anywhere else in the building, what's going to happen and where are the opportunities that I'm missing out on? Where are the opportunities where if I did this, I could improve experience or I could improve sales? I don't know what everyone else's LinkedIn feeds look like, but if they look anything like mine, it's very easy to look at it and feel like you've been completely left behind. Like every other business has completely automated their entire business with AI, and so you really need to catch up. And the reality is most of the technology that allows this kind of really advanced agent-based work, it's only really been invented in the last year or so. Some of it's been invented in the last few weeks. Some of the things that we could do, theoretically, a year ago, it's only been in the last month that the models got good enough that we can actually start giving them to customers to try. So in terms of what's actually practically next for hospitality, what we tend to say to people is, think about what you would do if you could have these agents that run 24/7, they look at every bit of data that exists in your business, and you could brief them on, go and achieve this outcome for me. Once you're really clear on what that outcome is, you can find technology vendors that are going to be building that, because every outcome you can imagine, somebody's going to build an agent for it over the next couple of years. I think I'm now out of time. The last thing would just be, this is like the most excited I've been about technology in the last 15 years. So if anybody wants to chat about AI, please come over to the Sona stand and talk about what would be helpful. Thank you.